So we call upon the next presenter to the podium, like Mr. Oamen, going to present on the topic of exploring gender and location effects on the relationship between technology and performance domains of community pharmacists in Southwestern Nigeria.
Hello, good day, everyone. Oamen Theophilus, Ehidiamen, a PhD candidate in management in Texila American University. In summary, this paper is based on the theory of diffusion of technology, which implies that some people who are early adopters of technology, slow adopters, or those who are very late, according to Rogers in 1962. This paper focuses on community pharmacists and looks at how gender and location of the practice impacts on how they perceive the influence of technology on the domains of their performance. There are several domains of performance influencing an average pharmacist anywhere in the world, also in Nigeria, a developing country. So we want to explore how demographic factors, precisely location of the business, as well as gender, whether male or female, influences how technology affects their performance. Studies have established that there are three major aspects of performance: the economic, the social, and the operational aspects, where the economic aspect basically covers the issues of cost, profitability of running the business. The social aspect covers service quality and customer relationship, while the operational domain covers essentially the day-to-day activities involved in managing the business. Community pharmacy does a little basis. Community pharmacy avenues through which patients collect their medicines. However, community pharmacies have two domains. Essentially, they are two domains in terms of how it is viewed. It is viewed both as a social service and also as an economic or business activity. And so we want to look how, from a group of pharmacists, how the impact of technology on their performance can be differentiated based on male or female, and also those who are in urban and suburban locations, because this has not been viewed. Essentially, it was a cross-sectional design using structured questionnaires. It was administered to 661 community pharmacists in Southwestern Nigeria. Southwestern Nigeria has over 3,000, between 2,300 to 3,000 community pharmacists. And in this particular work, we looked at pharmacists who have graduated 1 year and were involved in community practice. And structural equation modeling was used to look at if there are differences in terms of gender, and also if there are differences in terms of location, on how their perception of technology influences domains of their performance. Basically, we had a larger proportion of the respondents were males, while the rest were female. Most of the respondents were aged between 20 to 40 years, and those above 41 years or 40 years, they were about 33.4%. However, a majority of them were located in the urban centers, while suburban had about 34%. In terms of experience in the practice, a large proportion, 77.6%, had between 1 to 20 years of experience, while 94 of them had above 20 years experience. Basically, what we used to assess this issue of how they perceived technology and how it impacts on the three domains, the economic domain, the operational domain, and the social domain, we used structural equation modeling, which is an advanced statistical tool used in the management sciences to look at relationships. Basically, the relationships were looked at using the path coefficients, beta values, which depicted the causal predictive relationship between the variables. Now, while technology was looked at as the exogenous, the independent variable, economic, operational, and social performance domains were looked at as the endogenous variables, meaning that how does technology affect the economic domain? How does technology affect the operational domain? And how does technology affect the social performance domains of community pharmacists? And then it was discovered from the study, as you can see in table 1, looking at the path analysis, that the strength of the relationship or the impact of technology on performance domains was far stronger on the operational performance aspects compared to the social and the economic domains. You can see here, TechD is an abbreviation for technological domain or technological factors, and then economic domains abbreviated as EconD, operational domains, operate D, and the social domains as SOC-D. You can see that technology or perception of technology impact on their performance was more on the operational domains, how they perform their activities on a day-to-day basis. Now, this is the path diagram, which shows how the technology domain impacted on these various domains. And you can see here that, as I had mentioned in the table, that the operational domain was mostly affected by technology compared to the social aspects and compared to the economic aspects. However, looking at the issue of the effects, the subject matter, the impact of location and gender, we did a location and gender, how it impacts on their perception of how technology affects their various domains. We did a multi-group analysis, which had to do with seeing how the male pharmacists perceive these relationships, the one I had depicted before, and also to see how those in urban centers and versus those in suburban centers, how they fared in their perception. Now, it showed, looking at table 2, that the male pharmacists appeared, compared to the females, had a stronger inclination to use technology for their day-to-day operations and also to improve customer engagement. You can see that from the table 2. You see the column for female, the column for male. You can see the part difference and then the p-value. The p-value shows, is there a statistical difference between the perceptions of male versus female? And you can see across the 3 domains that the male had higher path coefficients, or will I say stronger perceptions, to be simply put. And you can see that particularly for, if you look at the p-values, the last column there, you'll find out that the perception of male pharmacists compared to the female on how technology impacts on their operational performance was a lot significant, as well as how the community pharmacists, the male community pharmacists, saw the social aspects was also significantly different compared to the females. Now, we also looked at this perception based on location of premise. We restricted this differentiation based on just suburban and urban. We didn't look at the rural. We basically combined rural and suburban together as one. You will find out that pharmacists practicing in the suburban locations compared to those in urban locations had a greater tendency to apply technology to enhance their work operations. This is expressed in a stronger path coefficient in the suburban 0.397 compared to the urban 0.239. You can find that here. basically, you see in the third row, you find out that technology, their perception of technology influence on the operational performance was a lot stronger, with a p-value difference between both groups of 0.021, which is less than 5% significance value. Now, as I said, this study was based on the theory of the diffusion of technology. Technology is relevant to performance, all domains of performance, and the findings showed that the female pharmacists and those based in, and pharmacists in general based in urban locations tend to have a lower adoption of technology. This, as I said, was premised on the differentiation, looking at the multi-group analysis, how they differentiated, how the difference exists between male pharmacists and female pharmacists, as well as those based in urban locations and those based in suburban locations. So generally, we could find that the male pharmacists showed better response to the adoption and use of technology compared to females. The multi-group analysis that was used here provides a basis for us to compare perceptions, attitude, and behavior among practitioners in any field. These are the references. And now the conclusion and the future steps that can be taken. A key finding of this study shows that the operational day-to-day activities and tasks are more relevant to the performance of community pharmacists based on the initial analysis done, the first analysis done. And the study concludes that demographic attributes, such as gender and location, are important influencers on how much technology is adopted to enhance business performance, to be specific among community pharmacists in Southwestern Nigeria. Now, therefore, as part of the recommendations from this particular work, capacity building workshops and trainings for community pharmacists, management trainings for community pharmacists should consider these differences so that they can optimize impact in terms of how these pharmacists perform in their operations based on gender and based on location. So a deduction could also be too that probably those in the suburban locations have more need for technological appliances to help bridge the gap for access to most of the key services and supplies obtained from the urban regions, and that may have definitely influenced them having stronger perceptions compared to those in the urban areas. Now, for the multi-group analysis studies, it is relevant, and this is a limitation which requires further research for measurement invariance tests to be conducted to validate the path differences. Measurement invariance essentially is a pre-analytic tool which is used to find out if a difference between two groups is not based on based on instrumentation error, but that it truly exists. It's an advanced tool you find in factor-based or covariance-based structural equation modeling softwares. I want to say thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Oamen, for the presentation. Now we move on to the Q&A session. Attendees and participants can post your questions in the chat box, and Dr. Oamen will be answering it. So we have received one question. I read it for you.
Okay.
Do you think access to technology has anything to do with it?
Okay. Now, based on the findings of this study, access to technology has no relevance to it. It's actually the utilization of the maximum or optimal utilization of technology. I would explain that by pointing out, for instance, it is assumed that urban locations where you have the main services, services that they would have better technology access compared to suburban areas. But in this case here, we are looking at utilization, maximizing that avenue. And that's why I mentioned during the course of the presentation that it is possible. It's a possibility. That's part of the inference from the study. It is possible that those in suburban locations who have, in quote, a deficit of technology access, do as much as they can to maximize technology available to them. So that may be responsible for them having a stronger tendency to use technology for their operations. It does not necessarily have to do with access, but the study focused on perception of utilization of technology. Thank you.
We have one more question
Okay.
from Dr. Rebecca. Well, did you have, was there ethical clearance for the study?
Oh, yes, there was. Actually, there was. This study is actually a tiny offshoot from my PhD thesis, which has been defended, and ethical clearance was obtained. Definitely, yes. I didn't include it just because I wanted to keep strictly to the number of slides I was told to present with. Ethical clearance was obtained. Yes.
We'll be able to take one more question. Yes, we have a question from Dr. Polycarp. Did age have an influence in how pharmacists perceive the role technology?
Now, although it was not a focus of the study, but an initial analysis done. As I said, although it's not the focus of this particular study, age, but when an analysis was done, a pre-analysis was done, age had no relevance. Age had was not a factor at all. So that was a part of the larger study, but age was not a factor at all. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Oamen, for answering all the questions and for the wonderful presentation.